we will be going over the whole process. So it's going to be brief, but it's going to be about the whole process from start to finish, from the point that you enter a contact into command, all the way through the filling out of documents in DocuSign, how it looks on the other side, where like how the client receives the document and sees it, and then how to bring those documents back in to command to submit for compliance review. And ultimately, we're going to end up with creating a commission request and sending that over. So I understand that all of us here are in different levels of command at the moment, and specifically in DocuSign as well. So just bear with me for the beginning as I introduce everybody how to create a contact and how to create an opportunity. And then when we do get to that DocuSign portion, that's where you can definitely start paying attention. Before we get into that, the main difference between DocuSign and dotloop is that DocuSign, it's purely a venue to get signatures. That's it. You are not going to be storing documents in there. You will not be using it to submit for compliance review or anything like that. That is what command is for. The compliance documents need to be stored there. But DocuSign is just a venue to get signatures and the forms. In other words, if you have a client that is not going to be signing digitally anything, then technically you can just download the forms, print them out, manually fill them out, have them manually sign it, and then scan those and upload those into command, therefore bypassing the whole DocuSign process. So the first thing that you should do is you're going to enter them into command. That is very simple. You go on the left side of my screen. These are called applets right here. If you click on the red KW, it tells you the name of each applet. So we're going to go ahead and select contacts. And in here, we're going to go ahead and click add contact on my top right. You're going to put a name for the contact. So in this case, we're going to be adding Ellie Carpanini. Always add their email address. And the reason why this is important is because when you create DocuSign from command, it will actually take this information from the contact over into DocuSign. It's going to populate the people section, and you don't have to double do your work. You don't have to repeat that process by yourself, right? So in her case, her email is ecarpanini@kw.com, and then put their phone number as well, just to make sure that your database is healthy and you have as much information as possible for future contact. And we're going to mark them as a buyer. We're going to go ahead and click create. And now they're in my contacts. That is the first step. You create the contact. After you have them in your command, you'll go ahead and click on the opportunities applet, which is in the middle of the left side of the screen. And we're going to go ahead and click on the top right where it says create opportunity. Here, we're going to make sure that the Pascack Valley Market Center is selected. That's us. For some of you who are in multiple market centers, make sure that you're creating the opportunity to where it's supposed to be created and where they're going to pay you. If you're part of a team, you'll see this drop-down area to select that this opportunity is supposed to be assigned to a team. So in my case, I want to do it individually. It's not going to be part of this team, so I'm going to click the X button. And then I'm going to choose the opportunity type. This is very important because you cannot change the opportunity type once the opportunity is created. In other words, if I am trying to create an opportunity for a buyer, but I forget to select the buyer here, I'm going to have to go and delete the one that I created it and start all over from scratch, right? So here, make sure you're creating the appropriate opportunity. We're going to go ahead and do a listing opportunity in this case. And we're going to search for the client. So today we're going to use Stephanie. She's going to be buying a house. So as you can see, the drop-down menu shows me all my contacts in my contacts database here in command. And then there is a co-buyer there. Command already knows that Stephanie and John are married, so they link them together. And I'm going to put them as a co-buyer as well. The opportunity name can be anything, honestly. Before, we requested that you put the address in the naming convention in dotloop. That's not the case anymore because command allows us to search by different categories. And then I'm going to say that they might close maybe in 2-3 months from now. And their estimated listing price is going to be $650,000. And the commission rate for that is 2.5%. The cultivate phase, it's actually something that you don't want to use as much, because when you put an opportunity in the cultivate phase, it hides it from the market center. So anything you do in there, any compliance you submit in there will be hidden from the market center. We won't be able to see that. So definitely always make it a habit to put it beyond the cultivate phase. Just put it on the appointment or active stage. In this case, we're going to go ahead and put in the appointment, and we kept the appointment because I already met with my clients. I already met with Stephanie. I went over the listing paperwork. They want to go ahead and proceed with me. So I'm getting ready to send them all the paperwork I need them to sign. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and click create. This will immediately take me to that opportunity screen to where all the details of this transaction live. The first thing I want to do when I'm here is I want to add the property address in the property box. If we don't do this, it will not bring them the information automatically to DocuSign, and you're going to have to repeat that step there. And also, it won't allow us at the Market Center to search for your opportunity. So the way that I add the address is by clicking on the pencil, and then I search for an address. Let's go ahead and use 700 Kinderkamak Road in Oradell. That's our Market Center, our business center in Oradell, for those of you who didn't know. It uses Google Maps and all of the information already there. So I just have to type the address, select from the list, and it brings the information like the zip code, the county, the state, and all the other stuff. So I'll go ahead and click save. And now you'll see that the name of the opportunity is there, but also the address is here. So that is assigned to you that I can go back and search this opportunity by either one of these two clients or by the address itself. All right. Once we're done with the details tab, we're going to go ahead and click on documents. This is where we start the transaction with DocuSign. So the first thing I'm going to do is on the left side, I'm going to check the checklist that's applicable to this transaction. So this is a New Jersey transaction. I'm going to go ahead and click New Jersey residential. And that will automatically bring up 3 different checklists, which is something to guide me in the process as to know what documents my office is looking for and what documents I need to have my client sign. In the under contract phase, this is what we're looking for in the office. And in the close phase, this is what we're looking for in the office. So for those of you who are brand new, this is a great guide to understand, okay, at what stage in the transaction do I need which document, right? So after I selected the appropriate checklist type, I'm going to go ahead and click at this arrow that says start a transaction. It's going to provide you both options. From now on, always choose DocuSign. And what you'll notice is Command is going to take me directly to that room, or what we used to call loop, directly to that room in DocuSign. So here it is. This is the room in DocuSign. It's named the same way I named my opportunity. All right, so now that I'm in my room, this is where I'm going to go ahead and add the documents to my room. Kind of like what we used to do in Dotloop where we click templates. Here, you just click on the blue button that says add, DocuSign forms. And out of this drop-down menu, you're going to choose group. And you're going to select the appropriate packet, the appropriate template. In this case, we're doing a listing for residential. So I'm going to go ahead and click listing residential. And it's going to bring up the documents that the Market Center thinks you will need for this transaction. So these are already selected because they're required, but I can go ahead and click select all, and it's going to choose all of the documents from that category. Let's say that I'm still missing one document. I see that it's not here. I can go ahead and search by the library, and I can choose, let's say, NGMLS. And these are all the documents that the NGMLS has available. I'll go ahead and add that to my packet, and then I'll click add. So now all the documents that I need are going to be here. How do I fill them? They're really easy to fill. In this tab where it says documents, you will notice that they're labeled form in blue, right? So I know that these are the ones that I can go ahead, edit, change details, and do a bunch of different things to them, right? So I'll go ahead and click on the, let's say, permission to advertise. It's going to load up that document, and it's going to show you the fields that you can type in and edit information into, right? And then you'll notice that the signature fields are empty. Now, the reason why the signature fields are empty is because we will send them out for signature in a different section of DocuSign. This is where something called envelopes in DocuSign comes into play. So here in my Documents tab, I'm only going to be filling in the format or the form to the best of my ability. And then anything that's supposed to be filled out by the client themselves, like the signatures or like the CIS, for example, or the seller's disclosure, those have to be filled out by the client. Those fields will be empty in this room, and they're going to be shown in the envelope stage of the transaction. So let's pretend this form is already filled out. If you want to increase the amount of forms that are already pre-filled, you can click on Details tab, and you can add as much information here. All of these boxes you can complete to the best of your knowledge, and whatever you add in these boxes will automatically be translated to all the forms in their applicable fields, right? So if I go ahead and click on Edit, and I type in the location here for 700 KW Command, then the forms that have those fields already pre-tagged as address will immediately show up with this information. Over here, I can also add the information for the buyer. So you see seller 1 already has Stephanie in it. So Stephanie's information is here. Seller 2 is the husband of Stephanie. The information is here as well. And then the listing agent is myself, so I can actually edit that. And if I have, let's say, the name of the buyer, if I'm sending out a contract that both of them need to sign, I can fill it out here as well. I can also fill out the buyer agent information here as well. So let's say Beth is going to be my buyer's agent. And then I'm just going to put her email. I guess that's her email. It doesn't have to be accurate. And you can put all of these information there, and that will immediately populate into the forms that have those fields already assigned to them, right? So here you see already brought in like the name of the people, myself as the seller's agent, Keller Williams Valley Realty. All of this stuff is already pre-populated from that information that we pulled in, either from Command or from the details section in DocuSign as well. All right. So this is where you fill out the forms. This is where you complete them. Now let's skip on forward and send them out for signatures. We'll go ahead and click on envelopes. We'll click new. And I'll name this envelope listing paperwork, because what you'll see is DocuSign sends a group of documents. It's not like Dotloop where the client would get a bunch of different emails for every single form you send them out to sign. In DocuSign, it's just going to send one email to the client, and it's going to batch all the documents in there so they can have them all together. So just like an envelope, I'm putting various forms within that envelope so that they can sign it. And this is just a great way to keep yourself organized, that this envelope I sent to them contains the basic listing paperwork that I need them to sign, right? So after I named it, I go ahead and click here where it says Room Docs. I select the forms that I need to send out to my client. So I need to send out permission to advertise, the COVID form, the listing agreement, and let's say that's what I need for now, right? So I'll go ahead and click Add Selected. It's gonna bring it over into my envelope. I'm gonna click on Add Recipient, and I'm going to choose Pre-tagged roles. Here it's going to tell me that out of these forms that I selected, I have to assign these people, right? So seller 1 is going to be Stephanie. Seller 2 is going to be John. The listing agent will be myself. And then if I had the buyers, I would also assign them here. And then for listing broker, this is very important. Keep attention to this. You will send it out directly to Randy. My apologies. Randy's already here. He's already brought it into your loop. Into your room. So you'll just click Randy. It's going to send him directly the signatures that needs to be done. And I'm going to go ahead and click Add Selected. And this is a really cool feature. This is my favorite part of DocuSign at this moment is you see how all of the people that I selected show up here. And then next to them, there is a number 1. What this means is that as soon as I click send, it's going to send all of them an email for signatures. If let's say Stephanie, myself, and Randy access the document at the same time, they can do it. It's not like in Dotloop when if one person is viewing the document, it locks out everybody else from seeing that document. That doesn't happen anymore with DocuSign. You can have 1,000 people looking at the same document that needs signature, and it won't lock any of them out. Another great thing about DocuSign is I can change these numbers. So for example, I want John and Stephanie to get the email first, and only until after those 2 people sign, I want it to go out to me as the listing agent. And then after I sign it, I want it to go out to Randy. So I'll assign 3. And as you can see here, the group that says 1 will send out the email first. After they're done, DocuSign will automatically send an email out to group number 2. And after number 2 is done, automatically DocuSign will send it out to group number 3. Another great thing about it, which you'll see later, is after everybody views the document and signs it, you as the agent will get an email back from DocuSign saying your client viewed it, your client signed it, the document is completed. And when the document is completed, you'll get a copy of that fully executed document sent to every participant. So everybody in here will get a copy of the executed document. All right. So after we've assigned the people, we're going to go down and we're going to edit the email subject line. This is what your client is going to see. So I always leave please DocuSign listing paperwork. And then if you want, you can add a message, right? Listing paperwork for your house in Oradell. We're going to go ahead and click next. And if you remember, a few minutes ago, I told you that in the form section, you didn't see the signature fields available. This is where you'll see them. So if I scroll down, seller 1, seller 2, and the sales representative already have the fields assigned in here. If I keep scrolling down, the same thing for the COVID form, they're already assigned. If I keep going down, the same thing here with the listing paperwork, as well with the broker manager signature is already there. But let's say, oh my God, I forgot to fill this box right here, this box right here. I can do that right now at this stage. I don't have to go back to the forms section. I can change it here. And I can go ahead and click here where it says checkbox, put it over the checkbox that I need to do, and I'm gonna double click, and it will already check it there. So I've already made that change. Another great thing about DocuSign is you can actually cross out things from the contract itself. So I can click on markup tools, line, I can cross out the first line right here. Say up to there. And then I want to make sure that my sellers agree to that change. So I can go ahead and just add an initial next to that change right there. And I can resize this as well so that they fit, right? So Stephanie is assigned to the yellow color. I can go ahead and click on John right here from this drop-down area. I want him to also initial this change that I made. And then if I need to change any other signatures or any other fields for Joanne, myself, or Randy, I can also choose it there. And then they all are color coded to help you understand, who's assigned to what. Not like dotloop where you have to read and really focus on what's going on. Here's color coded to help you. I'll scroll down, make sure that everything else looks perfect. So this is also there, it's correctly done. And then I can go ahead and click send. So I'm going to go ahead and click send so I can show you exactly how it looks on the receiving end.
So it's going to come through. It's going to show Joanne's name via DocuSign, and it's going to be whatever you listed it as. And then when you click on it, it's literally just going to show up that Joanne has sent you documents to review and sign. And then any note that Joanne left for you will be right down here, as well as his email. And then when you click this giant yellow button, it'll come up as review documents. And then this will pop up and it'll ask you to review the documents. You click continue. And then it's going to ask you to start it. And then it's literally going to bring them down to every spot that they have to sign. So then all they would have to do is click on it and it drops them down. Of course, you can scroll back up and see exactly what it is that you're signing, and then just click it again anywhere that it's initialed or signature, or you need to read something, it'll be there and it'll drop exactly where it needs to go. So I'm just going to click everywhere it wants me to sign and complete.
While you're doing that, Steph, can I just ask another quick question? What if our client doesn't have an e-signature yet?
Yeah. So Beth, that's another difference between dotloop is before the client had to create an account with dotloop to be able to sign stuff. With DocuSign, that is no longer the case. That email that Stephanie received will take them directly to that document, and whatever name you put on that field and they just click on it, it's going to automatically assign that name, and it's going to automatically give them an e-signature. Of course, they can edit the look and the style of it, but that's another great benefit to our clients is that they don't have to really deal with a new account. Everything is done from that email that you're sending out to the client as well. Another thing that I don't know if you noticed, but when Stephanie was signing, those fields that say date signed or name, as soon as she clicks sign, it will automatically assign the date. So it's not like in dotloop where they have to manually type it in and do that stuff. Here, there's a lot of automation already in the background created as well. So go ahead and click finish, Stephanie, if you can. Thank you. And then stop sharing so I can show them how it shows on my side as the agent. So as I was telling you guys, as the agent, I get emails on when Stephanie viewed it. So I just got an email from DocuSign that says Stephanie Logothetis viewed my DocuSign envelope. So this is great because if your client says, I didn't receive it, well, you can say, well, it says here that you viewed it at 3:26 p.m. I can resend it to you if you'd like. And like I said, once the documents are completed, the email, everybody, Stephanie, her husband, myself, and Randy are going to get automatically a copy of all the documents that they signed. This is something that by law, we have to provide our clients with a fully executed contract. And before, you would have to download it and send them out to them or print them out. Right now, you don't have to worry about that anymore because it's automated. It's done for you. So if I go ahead and go back to my room and click on the envelope itself, it tells me that Stephanie signed it and at what time it signed it. It says that John hasn't seen it yet, and therefore it hasn't gone through the rest of the process. So if I need to resend this out, I can go ahead and click resend, or I can click correct. And then I can go in and manually change some fields that I sent out, or maybe even add another document that I forgot to include. I can always do that. That's not an issue. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole process. Once the envelope is completely signed and executed, in here you will see the same form, but in an orange color. But what you'll see is this ones will remain with the blue form logo next to it, and then the ones that signed is going to come out right next to it. It's going to say Carnegie Home and Auto signed, and then instead of saying form, it's going to say in an orange bar signed. So then you'll be able to differentiate that. And why this is important, the reason why this is super important is because if you're dealing with a buyer and let's say they submitted an offer to a client that got rejected, I don't have to go in and add a new form like we used to do in Dotloop. You can just go back to the form specifically, click on it, change the details that need to be changed, send it out, and then you don't have to worry about the signatures being wiped out like they would in Dotloop because DocuSign will still retain that signed version. So you're still keeping the signed version number 1, even though you're changing the form, sending it out and getting version number 2. Similarly, if you need to send a correction from signed version 1, you can just go to envelopes, choose the signed version, and then just make the corrections there, initials or whatever you need to do, and send it out. So then in this way, the signatures that are already in there are not going to be wiped clean like they would in Dotloop. And how many of us has it happened that we send out a signature or we try to edit a document, and then it wipes everybody's signature and they have to send it again? It's such a headache. It happens to me, right? In DocuSign, that is no longer the case. The document that was signed will remain saved as its own version. And then you can take that and send it again with corrections if you want to do that as well. So if you're ever in DocuSign and you realize that, oh my God, I still don't have access to my NJAR forms or my NJMLS forms, it's a quick fix. Just click on the top right where your initials are, click on preferences, go to integrations on the left, and make sure that the NRDS ID number is complete. So you would put in your 8-digit or 9-digit NRDS number, your last name, and then you're gonna select New Jersey or New York Association, whichever one applies to you. So in this case, it would be New Jersey Association of Realtors, and you click Save Changes. That will validate your access to those forms. Now, the reason why this happens is, and this is just another great thing about DocuSign, we get directly forms from NJMLS and NJAR from the source, automatic. So whenever the NJAR updates a new form or creates a brand new form, you're getting them within minutes here in DocuSign automatically. And the way to ensure that is they need to know that whoever is accessing their forms is actually a board member to allow that to happen. And so, you know, just make sure you double check that as well. All right. So let's skip forward. Once those documents are completed, we need to bring them back into Command for compliance purposes, right? So I'm going back to that opportunity that we created. I'm going to the listed category and I'm going to click attach multiple files. At the top, I'm going to select DocuSign. And this means that it's looking at that specific room and uploading all of the forms that are there, right? So the listing agreement, I'm going to go ahead and select, and I'm going to choose the listing agreement, which is right here. The CIS, I don't think we signed that. The COVID waiver, right there. Consent to dual agency should be here. Actually, no, permission to advertise is here. If I can find it, there it is. And then, you know, you would just do that with all the documents that are applicable. Click attach, and then click submit to MC. And that will send it out to Ellie so that she knows to check these documents. If I need to replace a document, let's say the NGMLS listing agreement wasn't the one that I intended to upload, I can click on the 3 dots, click replace, DocuSign, and then find the actual form that was meant to go in there. So let's say this is the form that was meant to go in there, click replace. And then on the left side, it's going to say replaced as well. So both Ellie and yourself know that you just replaced that document. And that's pretty much how you do that part of it. Any questions so far with the DocuSign and command integration?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. What about the sync transaction? What's the difference between sync transaction and go to transaction? When do you click that?
The sync transaction button, what it does is, let's say I forgot to add a client to this transaction. I can go back to details in command, add the client, go back to documents, click sync transaction, and it's going to tell DocuSign to add an extra person that I forgot to add. Or for example, if you're working with the buyer and then they submitted an offer for 700 Kinder Kamak, but that didn't go through, I can go into details, change the address here, go back to documents, sync transaction, and it's going to change the address in DocuSign as well. That's pretty much what it does. It's a button that takes the information you've done in command and sends it over to DocuSign. It doesn't come back, it just sends it to DocuSign. Now, the go to transaction button is actually really convenient because if I click on it, it's going to open a new tab and take me straight to that opportunity or that room again. So it's going to take me to that specific room. So no longer do I have to go into DocuSign or Dotloop or whatever and search for it. I can just go straight to the opportunity, click go to transaction, and it will take me to that room with the documents pertaining to that transaction.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the commissions component of an opportunity. To do that for a buyer or listing opportunity, you always have to create an offer section. Now, what I heard is that in Family Reunion, when they update command again with a lot of fun stuff, this offer section is going away. So it's going to simplify your life a little bit better. But for now, you click on offers. You're going to click add new offer. You can name it whatever you want. Create offer. It's going to ask you for basic information like when was the offer date, when was the close date. It's going to ask you for the name of the other client. Look how the name has an asterisk, but the email doesn't. You don't have to provide an email. You don't have to provide a phone for the buyer or the other client. You just have to give us their name. And then the same thing for the agent. So the other agent was Marilyn Vasquez. Click on terms. And this looks like a lot, but the only thing I care about are these 2 boxes, cash and finance. They have to add up to the final sales price, all right? So on cash, let's say that they put $28,000 down and they financed $500,000, right? Then that equals 528. Everything else I leave empty. Click on agent analysis. What is this? Whatever you fill in here will show up on your consumer app. So if your client uses the KW consumer app and has you linked as their agent and is following this transaction through the consumer app, they can see whatever you're typing here to guide them in the process of which offer should I take. If your consumer is not using the KW app, don't even bother on filling this out. Click save, accept the offer. The commissions window will become available. You'll click on commissions. And here I need to add the contract date. So to add it, I click on edit general information. The contract date, let's say that it was on the 19th, save changes. And then here's where I edit the payments, right? So if I need to add another agent from our office, I can click on add another agent. And I'm going to say that Donna Hansen will be, she helped me out. So she's getting half of this commission. Save changes. I'll go ahead and change the units as well here, 0.5. Calculate commission is going to do the division itself. Save changes. If I need to add an outside broker, like for a referral, I click on edit agent payment, scroll down, add item. And from this category, I can either add a bonus like a listing fee that I received, or I can choose an outside referral and say that 25% of this automatically calculates it is supposed to go to this company, right? And then I'm gonna go ahead and click add, save changes. And here on the top right, it will tell you kind of like a summary of everything that we just did, right? So it says that I will be receiving this much, Donna will be receiving that much, and there is an outside referral that needs to be paid out for this much, right? And once I'm done with that, I click submit. It will ask me if I want to donate to KW Cares. I say, yep, and then apply. And that's it. I just submitted it. Joanne is ready to pay you whenever he gets the check. So that's pretty much the whole process from start to finish. How to create a contact, how to create the opportunity, how to go to DocuSign, how to get the documents, how to fill the documents, how to get those documents signed, how to bring them back into Command, and how to submit a commission request in Command.